Well, I'm back up. We will see if anybody finds me. Hey, Kim. I don't know what's going on. I think I should take this as a sign. It's just been morning like that. What can I say? But we'll be playing here in a little bit and it'll all be better. Okay, so we're going to play with Shrinky today. And I hope everybody finds me because it's been one of those days. Yay, Susan made it here. This is the second time in a row that I have had issues with trying to go live. I don't know what the problem is. Yay, Belinda. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad I'm back too. I didn't really want to have my face all over the internet, but I'm here, so it's all right. Hi, Anne, Kim, Susan, Belinda. I'm so glad you found me. I'm so glad I found myself. It's just been crazy. So, we're going to work with Shrinky. And I'm really not sure where I want to start. I think probably the best thing I have to start with is to show you, good morning, Laura, is to show you the tools I use. Now, I can say that the link to where some of these are is in the description, but because I had to start a new live, it's not in there yet, but it will be. It's in the old one. So you can always go look there. So I'm going to be using shrink material. There's so many different kinds, and believe me, I have them all. I just kind of have done this for probably 20 years. Oh no, Kim. So here's some of it, and I'm not even sure any of these are still made. This is Eileen's Shrink-It, and I'm gonna guess that it's probably not out there anymore, but I don't know. Was $3.99 at Hobby Lobby. There's the Frosted Rough and Ready. This is one of my favorites because if you don't get something that's like this, where it's shiny on one side and kind of etched feeling on the other one, um, this is the side we draw on. And if you don't have that, you're going to have to make the surface a little rougher to use. Uh, this one is Create Heat Shrink. It's just regular sheet Shrinky, and it's by Graphics. I know that's still out there. And when they're on sale or I had a coupon, I bought them. And like I said, I've bought them for years. Like this one was $5.99 and this one was $6.99. So they were evidently bought at different times. You can get it in colors. This brand is Poly Shrink. It says it's an artist grade shrink plastic. Honestly, I don't find a lot of difference in them, but they say there is. I don't know. So anyway, you can get it in black. You can get it in ivory. This is from Stampendous. Again, I don't know if they're still around. And then I got this. Some of this I got at Hobby Lobby. Some of it I have gotten online. And you can get it in colors, which is so much fun. Like this one is colors. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, and it was $4.99. So like I said, it can change. Now, one of my favorites, and I use her molds too, which we'll get into that in a minute. She has gold and silver. Oh, I must have scratched that. And it is amazing. It really works up cute. And you can make just like, I don't know, like bead caps and different things like that without having to do a whole lot of work. So it's kind of fun. Hi, Candy. So this is my die cut poop, and this is where most of that stuff sits, and this is all duplicates. So you can kind of see what we have available, and I'm sure this isn't it. But when I worked at the bead store, we did shrinky stuff, and so that's been pushing 20 years ago. So some of this has been around for a long time. So these are the molds I use. They're easy to use. They are about $20 each. I bought them long time ago. The first ones I bought were cheaper. And, just like everything else, it goes up. And they all have different functions. This is just to dome. And they have the little metal spikes. So when you put your piece on here, you shrink it right on here. And you use this to shape it, which will work on that. This one, it just gives you that little fluted flower. They have names. I don't remember. This one's one of my favorite. It makes a great like wafery, waffly kind of thing. This one is wavy too. I've used them all. I like them all. This one will dome it and then flare it back out. And actually, some of these molds, you can turn them around and get a whole different effect by using the other side. This one does have where you can use this one. This one has two lids, and this will just kind of make it cone shaped. And then we have this one, which pretty much just kind of gives you a flat bottom and then flares out on the top. They fit in there like that. And I will show you how these work because I love them. I really, really love them. So this one is kind of star shaped. This one is more sharp cornered than this one, the wavy one, but they're very similar. Even this one, they all have their own thing and they do their own thing. And then this is the small domed one, which you can use like this one, or you can use it upside down also. So it's kind of got dual duty. Yeah, but they do last forever, and I think she does sell them in sets. So I mean, yes, it's going to be more, but it might be cheaper. I don't know. So that's the molds I'm going to use. So we've covered the material and the molds, and now we're going to cover some of the coloring. Um, Colored pencils. Colored pencils are probably one of my favorite to use because you can get um, your different layers and shadows, and you can get a lot more detail in your piece. Uh, by the way, um, this one is called the bezel mold right here, and this is the paper, and it comes with the instructions how to use it, a link to a tutorial, a template, and 21 pre-cut beads ready to design. So by pre-cut, let me. I suppose that's in another area. It is. It comes in a full sheet that has probably been die cut, and you just pop them out. Um, right here they are. And it's not hard, but this stuff is kind of finicky somewhat. Yeah, she's the only person I know of that has them. So, um, Yeah, we waited on one from the pandemic. It took a long time to get here. So this is how they'll come pre-cut, and you just pop them out. And you want to be careful around curves. And there you go. It's all ready to color and decorate and um, do whatever you want with it. So we're gonna. Um, I'm just gonna continue listing. You can use colored pencils. You can use Sharpies. You can use inks, and I only use the archival inks because they're permanent. I mean, you know, I use a permanent ink, not just archival, but I have worked myself up to a collection of several colors. So I can do just about anything I want on here. Oh no, Candy, that sounds awful. And to use these, I usually use these to put them on. Makeup sponge works. I had them. So I wasn't really using them for anything else. You can use acrylic markers, or you can even paint and do it. The thing is with Shrinky, it may look beautiful as it is, but when it shrinks down, it condenses. And so sometimes painted things are a little too much. And I actually have a piece here of something. This was a jelly print, and I just kept, doing it like a normal jelly print, and it's really intense. It really changes. So if you wanted to do a jelly print, you just you got to kind of think sheer, maybe, I guess. So, oh my goodness, Candy, that sounds awful. So just because we were talking about this and I have it handy, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to punch this out, kind of figure out where I want it. I'll try to get some of this lighter color so maybe it won't be so intense. No, I think I want to get more of the flower. Okay, sometimes you can squeeze it, most of the time you can't. And sometimes I have to do a full body punch. So, and I save my scraps. I do have a project that I did with them that I will be showing you shortly. And then you need, one of my other tools is a punch. This littler one, I don't know if you can see that. That's how small it is. It works most of the time. A 1/4 inch works just as good. You just got to know where you're going with it so you know um, what size you want. I'm going to do this because of shrinkage. So we're going to shrink this. This is another tool, my heat gun. I do have a small toaster oven, and it didn't work for what I bought it for, and so I haven't used it. So, uh, but it will work, and you can use that, and you can use your own oven. I just want instant gratification, so that's where I come with this. Um, I use different kinds of tools to kind of keep this in place while I'm shrinking it because it's going to want to fly all over. So we're just going to shrink this real quick so you can see what a painted jelly print kind of thing looks like. And yes, this is what really happens. It can wad up. Most of the time, it'll pull itself back out, but occasionally it doesn't. And sometimes you have to get in there and manipulate it yourself. And you just go until it's you know, flat. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes circles turn into ovals. And I think that has something to do with the grain, but I haven't completely figured it out yet. So I'm just going to take a stamp and kind of press on it to make sure it's flat. Hi, Sherry. If I sound like I'm yelling at y'all, please let me know. My ears are so clogged I can't really hear too well. So it works and it looks fine. It's just got a whole lot of texture on here. Sorry, I had a candle going and I decided to turn it off. Every time I say hi to Miss Sherry, Siri comes on. So that's what it was. I got this simple little pendant and I can do whatever I want. I can finish it if I want. I can put a glaze over it. I can leave it like this because the materials you put on your shrink piece kind of embed in them. So I did play last night and this morning a little bit, trying to see if I could come up with some things that are different or things that I haven't done for a while. And there's something under my mat. A teeny tiny bead. I must be like the princess in the pea. No, it's still there. Crazy. Maybe it's under this one. No. There it is, that teeny tiny little bead. How crazy. Okay, so sorry about that. Distraction. We're going to start off with this. When I color, okay, this is the template. I just found that when I was grabbing some. This is the templates that come with them. So you can like scan them into your scan and cut out your shrinky that way. I've not had a lot of luck with it, but I haven't tried it with the newest scan and cut that I have. And maybe because it regulates the pressure, it would do it right. So I'm not positive on how that works. I thought I had, well, I did. Who knows where it went? Oh, I have some paper here that's already a mess. And when I color on Shrinky, I do make a mess because I go over. So this side is shiny and this side is rough. So this is the side we're going to color on. So I'm going to show you one of my favorite things to do. I like to color with pastels, or chalks. I have some pan pastels. I started to try to sell them and nobody was interested. And I thought, these puppies are $5 a piece, even back then. And so I decided, I'll just keep them. Maybe my kids will like them someday. My favorite is the ink. My other favorite is the pastel, but they're all fun and they all look different. So I'm going to show you the newest thing I just bought. I went to the store and this is all from the Dollar Tree. These are eyeshadows that I could use. I picked the most colorful ones. And then one day I was in Dollar General and I happened to find this, which must be taped somewhere. There it is. Let's see if I can undo the tape. I don't know if that did it or not. Nope. Wow. They really don't want you getting in this. You know, they should make tape dissolve after it's been purchased. I don't know if that's a possibility. Good thing I'm not buying this for the case because I'm scratching the heck out of it. There we go. Now is there some over here? Let's see. All right. Look at that. That was from Dollar Tree. This is just like having a pastel pad right there. So anyway, we're going to use this. You can use the sponges. You can use makeup sponges, whatever. I tend to use Q-tips. Well, and you can consider this to be just as chatty as that. So just chat up and get silly and be ornery to each other. So all I'm going to do is just color this. And I am so glad I bought this eyeshadow set. It might be nice to have more of a sponge kind of eyeshadow applicator, I guess is what I'm thinking. But this is working pretty good. The more color you get on your Q-tip, the more you're getting on the piece. So I'm finding I don't really have to go back and get more stuff all the time. And the reason I like to have a piece of paper under here, because then when it's all done and I've inked it or um, chalked it, then all these messes are on here. And I can just kind of make sure it's all rubbed in and just keep piling on it. And then it makes a great background paper, collage paper, or whatever. So I have that pretty well covered. It's a bit streaky because I'm kind of going in a hurry. And now I think I want to just add a little bit of this light blue to the center. I don't know why I chose that color. That's just what happened to be. And it's not showing up. So let's go with this one. Let's see if that shows. Yeah, that shows up. And maybe we want to add a little more design to it so it's not just plain, because this is actually going to be kind of translucent. And I'm going to kind of feather that out a little bit. And let's do, because that's purple and red are, I don't know, kind of close. I'm going to take this reddish hot pink color and I'm just going to do the edges just ever so lightly. And I don't really want it to be prominent because, as I said earlier, things kind of shrink down and condense. So you don't want a lot of color. You could take a Sharpie or paint pen and add to the edges of this. I had thought about doing pre-coloring a lot. And then I thought, no, you guys want to see the coloring too. And even though I am holding this in the center, I'm not getting rid of the blue in the center. It's still there. Okay, so we got that done. Yes, they would be used like pan pastels. They are maybe not the same quality, but I want to say these were $3.50, something like that. And I mean, of course, the other ones I showed you were from Dollar Tree, and these were all $1.25. So, I mean, there's some cute colors in there, but this was like, whoa, this is so me. So now I could be done, or maybe I'm not done. Let's say I want a little, I'm going to take this Prismacolor in black, and I'm going to kind of give it another outline. I don't have to worry about how dark it is. I'm just kind of outlining it, and it may not hardly show at all because I am not pressing hard. But again, it comes to, and it really comes with experimentation and playing and practice on how intense you want to make your marks. But they really do not need to be super strong because, I mean, they shrink down. I want to say a little over 50%. I'm not positive. I've heard and I knew, but I don't know anymore. So let's go ahead and use a mold for this one. And it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I forgot where I started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want to use this one. And I think the star is 5. Let's see if this one will work. This one has 6. So I got to get me a little mold nail. Hi, Darla. And here's where you make your decision. If you put it like this, when you mold it, that's going in. So the inside is going to be matte. If you put it on where the shiny side's up, the inside's going to be shiny. So you need to kind of, I say this, but when I show you the ones I already have made, you're going to go, she didn't think about that first. No, I didn't. If you know what you're making them for, if you're making them for a project, you know, think about whether you want the shiny on the inside or on the outside. That's the biggest thing. I make them, and I literally have bowls of them that I don't know what they were going to be, but I was just having so much fun making them. I have ideas, and I do want to finish one project today. I'm going to do this shiny side up, but I've decided it's still a little plain. So I am going to take my black pen, and I'm just going to kind of give it some leaf lines, you know how flowers have the little lines in them. Not a lot, just ever so slightly. Just because it just, I found a stamp once that says, less is more when more isn't enough, or something like that. I don't remember. Now I forgot all about it. Crazy. That's the way life is, though. I am arranging this right now so that each one of these petals sits in one of these grooves, but it won't stay that way. It's going to rock and roll when I get ready to heat it. So I'm just going to heat it. And you just want to go around it, around the edges, so it kind of shrinks all at the same time in the same way. Let's see if I can get that where you can. Let's move it over here so you don't see the paper behind it. And you just kind of go, and like I said, sometimes they will stick to each other, the petals. Most of the time they do not. So I'm going to shrink it till it's pretty much flat. I have one petal over here that is taking its time to shrink, and this one over here. So before I put the lid on it, I'm going to squeeze it around so that each petal is in one of those grooves. I'm going to put the top on it. Push down. I'm not using crazy amount of pressure, but I'm keeping it down. You want to hold it for approximately 10 to 20 seconds. It doesn't really take very much time. There actually might be a time that's recommended. And if you go to her website, Julie Haymaker is who does it. She has a website and an Etsy store. And these are her molds, her designs, and they're amazing. So there we go. So there it is. That is actually the top that's matte. And you can barely see those little marks in there, but it gives it just enough lines. And then there's the other side. So depending upon what you use this with, let's see if there's a bead over here. Okay, here's the bead. So it can sit on top and be kind of a wavy top on your bead, or it can either direction, go up or down. And let's say you don't like this one, you don't like the way this turned out. Well, then let's just do this one. I can put it back on here. I'm going to heat it back up. It's been a while since I've used these, and I wasn't really sure what they do. I mean, I know what they do, but, you know, I just wasn't positive. You know what I mean? So put this one on there. And all this is going to do is dome it. And these will be hot. They're metal. And there you go. So now the mat is still on the outside. So depending upon how you want to use this, you can put a head pin in it, and or with a little bead, and that can be the center and it'd be clustered. So I had a head pin sitting around here, but I don't see it right now. Now, I have used the molds. You've seen that. I mean, we can go through all the molds if you want to see how they really look. That's quite all right. I'm just trying to get you the basics, and then we can go from there. Anything you want to see, any ideas you have, something you think you want to just ask that, can I do it? Ask. Because, you know, if I haven't tried it, I'm willing to try it. So a couple other things is, yes, I use the molds, but you can do the flowers without them. And I'm going to show you some of my flowers. These great big ones. These are my favorite. These I'm hoping at some point become a hat band for myself. These don't really fit on a mold. No, it doesn't smell. You know, I just have tons and tons of them. So here's my little head pin. Look what I did. Laura, we were doing this in our crafting one night, and I took a bunch of the little small ones that I did in a ripple and stacked them. Isn't that pretty? It's all those colors. That's the head pin I was looking for. So I can, well, it's actually a piece of wire that I made into an eye pin. So pretend that's a bead, and you can put your bead on there and a head pin, and or a ton of little dangles, and there you go. You got a little frou-frou thing to put on something. Which mold? Probably depends upon the size of shrinks you're going to make. That's a tough question. It really is. I would say that I probably use these two the most. This one, which will kind of cup it down, but then flare it back out. This one domes it. This makes a perfect bead cap. I'd still like this one or this. This would be my next choice. And it does this ripply like that. This is my black and white stash. This is done with it's domed. It's done with this one. This one is done with this one. The kind of, it fits right in there. when you turn it the right way. Again, the domed one. Actually, yeah, I got it. Maybe the smaller one of them. Let me see. Nope, it would be that one. So these two probably would be my favorite. This is going to let you make bead caps, basically, or cupped up flowers that you can turn into a flower, put a center in. Um, this little doodad that I made here, this is just a circle and I put a button on it. No, this is a little flat shrinky thing and the flower, so it's a pendant and it can hang however you want it to hang. So it's really a fun little thing. But even this little one is just in this dome. So I would say that is probably the favorite. And I was showing you the silver and gold. Um, this is the silver. It's not sparkly silver, but it's really pretty. And I actually poked all those holes in there before I shrunk it, and I beaded around that whole thing. I love it. I have no use for it. I don't know what it'll ever be, but there you, I did it that way anyway. So, um, this one that I was showing earlier that I took the little ones out, they were all done with this one. I have I have bukus of them. These are the ones I don't know what they're going to be. These were kind of made with an intention of making my own acrylic flowers, and they're mostly done with the translucent. So they look, this is a stamped image. I stamped and colored. I've had this one for years and years and years. I know. There's so many things that you can do with them. This is, multicolored. This is a stamped one, and it's not even a circle. And I mean, I just stamped it, and you can't really see that, can you? Let me show you. I happen to have the stamps right handy. These were the stamps I used, and that one was this one. So I stamp it, and then I color it, and then I shrink it. Your holes aren't in the center of the design at all because these are wonky, but they still shrink cool. That's the only thing I've used this stamp set for is shrinking. I'm not a big colorer, but I will color the shrinkies. But there's, this one was chalked and then I doodled on top of it. This was stamped with a random stamp. And, they're not all perfect, and that was stamped with red, but they can be, when you put them together with other beads, they make amazing things. And I did have a whole bag of them. I know Darla has one of them that of pendants and baubles and stuff that I made. And for the life of me, for 3 days, I haven't been able to find them. So I don't know. They're here. They're put up in a nice, safe place. But that being said, they still haven't been used. So I got these out. If you are going to make these and you don't want the molds, that's fine. You can do some things without the molds. You can manipulate. I wear these. I bought them on Amazon. It was 5 pairs for not very much money. They're nothing fancy. They're simple little white gloves, like you're a famous person and you're examining art and you don't want to put your fingerprints on it. It's that kind of thing. But it's just enough to keep you. Now, I'm sure you could get it really hot and hold it, even with these, and it's going to burn, but it's not going to blister. So, I don't know. I don't use them a lot, but when I know I'm going to manipulate something by hand, I definitely use them. And all of these big ones, I use the molds to get that dome, and then the rest of it is manipulated. And I don't know which one it is. Let's see. Okay, well, I can show you this one. These stuck together, but because of the starting size of this, I'm not sure if this is the right one or not. No, it's not. But I mean, I have them this big, and I don't have the die cut machine to do it, so I bought the dies and sent them to Susan. So anyway, they stuck together. And I will show you, I will do a big one so you can see it. They stuck together, and I just kind of went in with a little pair of scissors and snipped them apart, manipulated them, and then I go pinch it in a couple places, and it looks like it's supposed to be that way. And this one, um, when it was cut out, it didn't cut perfect. It's like, when you're popping them out, sometimes they'll tear right around the cut. And so I just went in and because I believe that this die cut and this are the same. And I just went in and cut them all up a little bit so they weren't all perfect, and kind of gave them this shape, and voila, turned out perfect. So, you know, I feel like there's room for issues, to fix things. And if you look at this one, these are not all laying straight. This one again this one's bent, this one's up, this one's flat. I did these intentionally because nature isn't perfect anyway. And then there's some that I have just drawn like crazy on or stamped on, and this one is completely drawn. It's so hard to see them in the camera. It just looks like dark things, but really they super simple. I mean, you know, I don't know which side's easier for you to see. This one you can see a little more of the detail. This has the orange center dots and then lines coming up. It's yellow with orange edges. When you're done, after you've made them, you can go in and put, I like to use the silver leafing pin on the edges, and it gives it kind of a, um, more professional look. And then you can use the colors and just make simple little beads. This one had outline on it. This one, which is, of course, orange. This one, the matte side is what I left out because I just stamped it with a black checker. So it makes for a bead cap. It doesn't quite fit this bead, but I don't see another one in here that's round, so we'll do. So now I have this cool little bead cap for a bead that's checkered. You're not gonna go find a checkered bead cap probably. So this just shows you some of the things. Um, this is, I don't know why they are separate in my storage here. Um, these maybe I didn't know what I was going to do with. Oh, and here's some of my little pieces that I'm probably not going to be able to pick up. These are just my little shards, and I just shrink them. There's one that's colored in all different colors. I don't know how well you can see that. Pretty well, I guess. And some of them I just, that's alcohol ink. Alcohol ink works really well. This one is one of the dangles that Julie has. I drew on it, and then I put glossy glaze on the top. You don't have to. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Here's another shard that I stamped on. So I can take these and do other things with them. You can even make little buttons. And this is a kid's kit. This is supposed to be a ring. It comes with a mold, and you put it in there when it's hot, and it shapes it. But the size wasn't good, and it didn't really work. So I just made them into long little dangles that can be on anything. This is something, I didn't even know this was in here. This little person right here is a design I made when I worked at the bead store. And this could actually be a project in itself. I have the pattern that I designed, and I have a lot of them cut out. And I have little holes around the head, and here for the arms, and here for the legs. And then I bead the legs and the arms, and then the hair. And the hair is just wild and curly. It's really, really cute finished. Um, I probably have one finished somewhere, but I'm just not really sure where. And then, like I said, these most of these are the translucent. There's a few opaque, but they're kind of like solid colors. A little bit of decorative in there is, it's made its way in there. But my intentions were to make myself acrylic flowers. So we're gonna do one of these that. Oh, and then let's just do this because they're right here. I just will take a sheet and just punch circles. Even like this one that didn't work and came out bad, I went ahead and punched it thinking I can attach it to something. Maybe it'll make a button. It's hard to say. Punches work pretty good on this. Die cuts work fairly well. The steel rule dies work the best. But yeah, they're all pretty good. And was looking for a black one that didn't have a hole in it. I want to tell you, if you like doing the simple making your own colorful bead caps or flowers, and using the solid colors, um, I totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I do have a crocodile, and it and I have a love and hate relationship. Yes, you can cut them with the die cutting machine. Um, I prefer the steel rules, but if you put some extra, like a Kleenex box or a piece of thinner chipboard, um, it will have uh, be enough to help it get all the way through. And occasionally, when you're die cutting a flower, you may have to still get your scissors out for some of the tiny little spots. But back to what I was trying to say, because this would be a good example. So after I do one in every size, and I have them in a little bag over here in my file cabinet somewhere, um, I find the center for one and I save it as the pattern. So now when I cut all these size, I can put it on there, use my crocodile or whatever you long reach, because most of these this size these won't go onto. So I have it marked, and then I can either mark it or just take this over and punch it. And I say take it over because I use my crocodile on the table that sits behind me, because it puts it at eye level and I can see it. That has put the love in the love hate relationship. So, but I'm going to show you something that I played with this morning because it's something I done a long time ago and I haven't done it for a long time. And then I'm going to show you. Um, okay, so we're going to do these. The clear ones, sometimes I can't even see them. Okay, so we've got this one. And where is my stamp? Oh, here it is. I even cleaned it for y'all. And I need this. I don't normally stamp with these. Use these on shrink. This is pigment. It's not going to dry. So, but I'm going to use it anyway. Let's go with this one only because it's really not going to show regardless. So I'm just going to ink this up. Even though I cleaned it, still got my pad all dirty. Okay, now I'm going to heat this. And again, this can be done in the oven or a toaster oven. If you do it that way, you're going to have to work really fast. Okay, it's shrunk. I'm not going to do this on the paper. I'm going to move it over here to my silicone. Get over here, you little stinker. wanting it to be as flat as possible. I do see a little wrinkle, but it's going to be all right. Now, probably I won't get this on there centered, and that's okay because we're just showing you. And again, this one probably could use a little body weight. Yeah, I way got it off center, but that's okay. So I impressed that in there. You don't see the detail too well. This would, be for like pendants and stuff. And I have kind of lost the hole. Not totally. It'll still go on a head pin or, you know, that needle's too big. So is that one. But I also found out last night that while they're still warm, you can almost drill through it. This is just a straight pin. So the hole's still there. If you're going to use it on a head pin or put a brad in it, it's probably going to work okay. Kofi is kind of a little store. I have Kim and I do a tags for all reasons. We do different days of the month. We do it towards the end of each month, and the printables that we've used are there. And if I have any printables in here for something we've done, I will have them on there. Um, I do have a project coming up. It'll be next month, and I'll show you that here in a little bit. And if I don't, somebody please remind me because it's really cool. It's probably one of my favorite in a long time. So you can use different kinds of pigmentings to do this. I grabbed what was on top, and I do, you could use like rub and buff on this and highlight it. And I think it's called in intaglio or something like that. I'm not real sure. It's a technique I learned a long time, but I haven't done it for years. So if you don't have rub and buff and you want to give this, take a Sharpie, a metallic Sharpie, and you make your own rub and buff. And if you get more on there than you want, you can go in and, like right there, I might want to take some of that out, but I'm okay with it for now because, like I said, we're playing, we're learning. Okay, so yeah, your finger gets dirty. I just happen to have a little alcohol right here, and so now it's not going to rub off on something else. So there's your little thing. You could take this with. I don't think I have any bigger flat things. I mean, I suppose you could, you know, I don't know, set it inside of something or on top of something, stacked or something. Most everything when it's flat's about this size that I have, so it's kind of hard to see. But um, it could also just hang off of something as a little dangle, even though the hole's here. You could, you know, bring your wires up through it. Um, I tried really, really, really hard to get all of everything I needed out so I wouldn't have to keep walking away or rolling away. But you could easily take this like this. And yes, I'm cutting it with my scissors, but it's 24 gauge, so it's fine. And then twist it and make yourself a little dangle, even though it's in the center. So, it's usable even as a flat piece. But my tip is with using a metallic marker and using it as rub and buff. I've been doing that for a long time. And you know what? There's a tube of rub and buff right over there. But the Sharpie is handier. Yes, I haven't even done the app yet, and I need to figure it out. There's some more things that I need to figure out on there. And while we're still kind of on Kofi, I'm going to go ahead and take a drink real quick, and then I'm going to show you what our project's going to be on there. And I've got kits that will be for sale as soon as I figure out how to do that. I got printables up. So there's this. And some of you have seen this. I don't know. I show it every chance I get because I really have fun with it. So it's got a little belly band that goes on there. And it's really cute this way, right? Okay. And this side's really cute too, right? Well, hi, Candy. You have two candies in here? Or just one? It doesn't matter. You're all welcome. So, um, you open it up, and this is cute. This is cute. I mean, I really had a lot of fun with this. But here's the cute part. This is matchboxes, and these are drawers. And then inside of the matchboxes, you can make little books to put in there. The kit will include the matchboxes, and yes, I have taken and made sure you had three matching not the same, but in the same size. They had to be the same length, and they had to be the same thickness or depth. The width wasn't important because they just needed, fit. And we have everything to make the cover. I have some printed painty papers that I've made, and the matchboxes and the beads and everything to make the little drawer pulls. Some ribbon cord, and different things to make you a belly band or a closure. I just went with the paper. I had painted this piece of fabric a long time ago, and I thought it just went with this, but I didn't like. I didn't want to tie it. And so anyway, I just put it on paper and I sewed it to the paper, and I just happened to like it. So anyway, this is the kit, and it's finished except printing the painting papers. Everything has been rounded up and put together, and then I have to put all the kits together. So hopefully in a week it'll be up there, and this will be our March shenanigans project. You don't have to purchase the kit. I will have a list what is in the kit. Um, I think the best part of the kit is that you're going to have three matchbooks that match, and you don't have to go hunt for them. So, anyway, that is coming up in March, and I think it will be a lot of fun. So, let's do anything anybody want to say first before I just pick something out of my head to do? I kind of want to do a big one. I haven't done a big one for a while. And it does take a little longer to color. And we could do more techniques with these too. I kind of am like all these ideas, and they're just kind of whoosh through my head. And I grab whatever happens to be first in the thought process. So let's do one of the little printed ones, and we're going to do um, colored pencils on this one. And excuse my reach. You're doing a big one, huh? Okay. This here sheet, this whole sheet is been jelly printed. And I don't know if you can you see my fingers through there? This is a transparent one. The first one I cut a piece of and did, um, I don't know where its leftover piece is. That one was done a lot more intense. And so I kind of learned my lesson. So you can tell here. This one, of course, is on black. And there is some black that you can see through there, but not a lot. And it's done with acrylic paint. But you can also take your paint pens and, you know, do your own thing on there, draw and doodle and what have you. So, but you can tell more on this one. I mean, the intensity is a whole lot less. So this one would definitely shrink up better. And I just moved you little buggy. This is what shrinked off this. It's not in the same, this isn't what I cut it out of, but it was all the same at one time. So this is how it shrank down. This flower right here is those flower marks right there. You can tell. Right. I just did like I was going to do jelly print, and I put the shrinky down as the paper and pulled it back up. I don't wait for it to dry. I don't know how that would really work. I think with the shrinky pulling it up, this is just my opinion, and like I said, I don't know, but I think you're going to have kind of a slicky, plasticky kind of surface of the jelly plate, plus the slicky plastic surface of this. You got a 50-50 chance it could stay on the plate. That's just my opinion. I haven't jelly plated for a long time, and I haven't tried this for a long time. So maybe that is what I did. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to think of logic. Maybe. I don't know. But this one is the full sheet. And like I said, you can really see behind it, and it's much thinner paint. I really put it on with a thinner amount. And then after, it all dried, I came in with the pen and did some markings, just like I would a jelly plate. Yeah, I hope that helps. If not, we can do a quick little video of that someday soon. So I was going to color this one that has, they do kind of, these transparent kind of get lost on here. So I'm going to color this one with colored pencils, and you can go into tons of detail. So don't want to start with that one. I want to start with this one and this one. So I'm going to start with the orange one, and I'm just going to kind of do my center. I'm not worried. I just want it to look like a center, so I'm just kind of being a little bit sloppy. And now I'm going to go in with the yellow. And I am overlapping, so it kind of has that a little bit of a bleed out of the colors. Not a lot, but enough that it looks good. Now I'm going to go with the pink. And you don't have to color good and solid. Your mind is going to want to. It really is, because that's what we know. But remember, it shrinks down, so all the ink materials, whatever's on there, is going to intensify. And I'll kind of get you an idea on that in just a second, real quick. Let me kind of get this color on here, because the train of thought can pull out of the depot at any time. All right, we're going to stop right there for now. I'm going to pick up, this is a good piece right here. Just a piece of scrap. I'm using white, shiny side, and okay, that's not going to work because that's shiny on both. Well, it is, because I'm going to show you what you can do. I told you this, but now I'm going to show you. So this one is kind of shiny on both sides. This one seems to be a little less shiny, but it's still shiny. So I'm going to take a sanding block, piece of sandpaper, an emery board, and I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to go this way to scuff it up so it holds whatever I put on there. Okay, so I'm going to take this, And I'm just going to draw light-handed a few lines. Now I'm going to take this and draw this really heavy-handed. Now we're going to shrink it so you can see the difference, that you don't have to have. I mean, kind of get an idea. You can't even hardly see the faint little lines over here. But I want you to see the difference it makes. You still get a good color when it shrinks. Well, it picked up some blue off the paper. If you're shrinking fast and you want to, you know it's done shrunk, but it hasn't flattened out, you can also do this. Okay. So there it is. There's where I covered real heavily. Yes, it's a really intense color. But if this was even those skinnier lines close to each other, it's still an intense, fairly intense color. So you don't have to color real heavy and dark. So let's take the rest of this flower out with this lighter. I guess we'll go with this one. And I'm just going to finish out with this. There's not a lot of color difference there, so we may want to add a little something else. And you can color quickly, and you can go back and you can, maybe go the other direction. I don't always like that, but you can, do it as thick as you want or as light as you want. This one will be kind of a translucent piece, so you definitely don't need to get your color heavy if you want that acrylic flower look kind of thing. Or even glass. I think some of my big ones look like they're glass. I should have pre-colored some of these because, I don't know that you want to just sit and watch me color. Not once you've seen how to color. And if any of you know, when I doodle, I outline so many things. When I color things, I outline. That's kind of just my thing. I do like to outline these a little bit when I'm done, which we will do. I don't know if you can really see what I'm coloring because I am working on this where you can't, it's got all these other colors on the background. But see, it just puts more marks down and then it's double duty. So going to use the black. Do I have a black in there? Because this isn't a real good one. Oh, well, that's okay. And I'm just going to kind of put a little outline around. There's enough color on there. That black line did not want to connect with the other side. They're not exactly on the edge because sometimes it's real easy to come off the edge. Okay, so we did that. Maybe I want to put a few little lines in here. Just add a little more detail. I'm not doing much, just a little. And then I'm going to come over here and get a Sharpie. And I'm going to do this around the edges. Sometimes it'll show up good and sometimes it does not. but it lets you not have that thickness of the, if you're using, especially if you're using white and coloring on it, it'll help you not have that thick of white there. And I'm not going to do this last one so that we can see the difference. Because again, like I said, I haven't done this for a while, so. Now let's get a mold ready before I get too far. As you can tell, I'm not left-handed. And we can actually just shrink this right on there. So now I don't have to hold anything. Hi, Deb. Okay. So there's this side. This is the shiny side. You see those outlines vaguely. You see a little darkening on the edges on the one that there isn't a mark. You can you can tell there isn't because there's not the darker on the edges. But you can go back and you can outline that in any Sharpie, if you want to do your edges. But that kind of gives you an idea. Um, it's not distinct enough that I would go back and change it. But anyway, so there you go. And like I said, you can put, a lot of people put resin on them. I don't know why. I've never had one rub off. And I'm really, really, really rough on jewelry. So, but I wanted to show you real quick. This is kind of, um, well, we'll just do this one because it's here. No, that's not what I want to do. Sorry. I'll do that one, but I'm wanting something with a hole in it already. And I really want a circle. Okay, here we go. This is one I cut with a die cut. As you can see, well, maybe you can't see. What can I put up there? Let's see if that helps. Not really. Well, there you go. It didn't die cut real well. It's kind of straight there. But I'm still going to use it. Maybe it'll look good. Maybe it won't. I'm going to use this one because I think it will be the right one. And I'm going to color this one first. This is how I made the little acrylic flowers. I'm going to pick out, no, I don't want to do evergreen. That's too dark. Kitsch Flamingo. I am not scratching up this one. This is shiny and smooth on both sides. Just going to pick one side and I'm going to ink it with this, just like this. Or you can do it with the little spongy things. Which doesn't always work as good as the pad itself. It's way darker on the other one. And I'm having trouble seeing where the color's going because there's so much pink on that paper. So let's come over here. That way you can see it better too. But I really think for the most part, most of the time with the ink, it's just as easy to do this. Like I said, I didn't scratch it to absorb it, but it is permanent ink, so it should hold pretty well, or usually holds pretty well. So I'm going to put it on this one. I'm trying not to touch it because it is wet. Like, it's not going to matter. It's going to be shiny either way. So we're going to heat that one. Because this is such a fine point for the most part, it is going to make your hole a little bit bigger. And we're going to hold it down for a little bit. I don't know what the temperature is here. I've not even looked. I figured I got up. That was pretty good for the day. So even though that one edge is flat, you still have a cute little transparent acrylic bellflower, and you can't really, I mean, I know where it's at, but you add a little bead in there and it's going to look like that's how it was supposed to be. So that's why I do the circles. I love the circles. It makes these cute little flowers that are, I mean, and I have the stuff. So why, I mean, yeah, acrylic flowers are pretty cheap, but I have these. Yeah, I mean, y'all seen at the beginning of this how much shrinky material I have. And when I was in Hobby Lobby this week, I actually looked to see, excuse me, if they still had some, because I'd looked before and didn't find any, so that I could tell you is that I could tell you the price. So I looked, and it is around the children's stuff, like I think it was above the coloring books and stuff like that, and it was still $5.99 for the whole package. So, and you can get it where you can inkjet print on it. I haven't really tried that. I have one. I just haven't tried it. I probably need to do that. So let's do. I'm going to do this one because, for one, it's big, but it's not the biggest I have. The biggest I have is, oh, I don't know if you can tell with the clear. Well, maybe. There's two of them here. So I am holding this one. That's how big that one is. And we don't want to sit and watch me color all that time. So one side's shiny and one side's matte. This is the side we're going to work on. And I'm going to use the inks again because it is going to be faster. Let's put these somewhere else. I tend to do pink, yellow, blue, orange. I don't ever steer away from those colors. I don't, I don't know. I just, let's do purple. I was going to pull some things out. Some of these have probably never been used. You kind of get it for one color, and I think we'll be all right with this. Maybe need some orange. And you can go back and forth and add a little bit of color, and you can make a rainbow flower. It's your flower. It can be whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to go and I'm going to, because this one is got the etched filling, I don't have to use this. I can use the sponges. Let's see. I'm going to test my colors because I don't know which one I want to use. The purple's awfully dark. So I think we may go with, this one. Okay. They're not quite what I want. This is going to be it. So I am just going to, no rhyme or no reason. It's kind of coming off splotchy, but there are lines in this flower embossed with the shrink. You will lose most of that. And you can tell it's there by how it's picking up the color. And, you know, I've showed you some of what I've done, and I can show you probably more. You know, I have sat and taken the time and just colored them like I would color it in a coloring book. And, you know, that's fine too. But like I said, I don't know that we all want to just sit and watch me color. So I'm going to put some orange in the center. I'm using this so that I can keep it in the center and not, you know, get orange in the middle of a leaf somewhere. And that color just isn't showing up at all. Not the way I thought it would. Let's try the other orange. And I don't have one of these for each color. I just have one in the oranges, and I have one in the pinks. I do have a lighter pink and a darker pink, but that's about it. And I have turquoise and green, which could have been the same one, but I have separated those. So I think this is really cool, even with that lightness in it. But I think what I want to do is add a little bit of something else, but I'm not really sure if this is going to be what I want. So we're going to try it anyway. So I'm going to put a little bit around the edges so it's got some darkness, and it's going to have the sponge to get where I want it at. And I am not being real careful. I'm just putting the color on. When I get this one done and get ready to shrink it, I am going to not use a mold on this one. I'm going to manipulate it by hand so you can kind of get an idea how that would work, whether it's something you want to do or not. So I'm going to hold this up to plain sheet of paper and see if it's got the coloring I like. This one's kind of streakier than the others, but it's okay. It's a little dark on the edges, just slightly, and that's what I was wanting. So now I'm going to take the pinkish colored pencil, and I know from experience that once this melts, the lines aren't pronounced anymore. And I'm going to come in here in those lines with this. And I'm going to make them kind of choppy. I don't want them perfect. But I am following the impressed lines in here. Now I'm going to take the orange. Let's see if there's a better orange over here. Yeah, this one's better. And I'm going to kind of give it some little lines there. Because you know, nature's not perfect. And I should have punched a hole in that, and I'm not really sure. We'll just use this little puppy, even though we probably won't get the center. Well, we'll get closer if I eyeball it like that. And then come over here and punch it. Because it's transparent, I can set it over the hole and kind of see through it better. Okay, so I've done that. I can kind of just sit here and think about it if I want a little more of something on there, and maybe I do. Maybe I want to take the lighter pink and dab a little bit of that in there in some of those, the lightness. You don't need much. Really don't need much. Okay. Yes. One other thing I didn't grab out, I do still have. So we're going to need a mouse pad here in just a little bit. And we're going to put our gloves on because we're going to manipulate this. Now, I have two of these, and a lot of people, and I know that she sells one of these on her website. This everything I just took out of there, so that I don't have them scatter all over. So since this fits, we're going to put it in there, and I'm going to put these on, and put this over here so that I can just kind of go from one step to the other. I always think it's colder than it is here. It was 68 degrees yesterday, and I still turned the heater on under my feet. So let's get started on this. This will help contain the heat right in here. So it's supposed to help it shrink better. Wow, now I look at it in here, I see how off I was on that center. That's okay. Doing it this way, if you did it in the oven or toaster oven that it would fit into, it would probably shrink up and then go back out the right way. And you can't do this like one leaf at a time because it's so much easier to curl up on itself, which it's doing now. We're just going to hope that it doesn't get stuck. And I see one let go. Was the other one going to let go? Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to come in here real quick and pull that a little part and pull that one a little part. Oh, that one's sticking bad. Nope, not so bad. That one. Okay, they're apart. Now that we'll keep going. It's hard for me to do this evenly so you guys can still see it. And I know it doesn't seem like these thin little gloves could keep the heat from a heat gun bothering you, but it really, it's actually feels pretty good. Bye, Kim. Talk later. Okay, so we're going to quickly take this out. And I want this shiny side up. So I'm just going to maneuver it around. I'm going to get this tool that has a big ball on it. And I'm going to kind of cup that up and let that be my center. And I can, I can use the mouse pad to push in, or you can use your hand. And so now I've got this domed flower and it looks really good, but it's kind of stuck there and I want to go just a little bit more. I'm going to come over here. So I don't really like working in that. I guess it's a good idea. It probably did keep the heat consistent, but I don't know. I just didn't love it. So I'm going to kind of come over here where they're touching. And it's not going to hurt where they're touching, but and the rest of it I haven't done. And I want to get a little bit of a petal shape on that one. Come over here and now I'm kind of squeezing them together so they're making a more of a domed flower. Give it a little more heat. Now I will say that blowing it with my fingers on there, holding it, it did get a little warmer, but it didn't. There was no way it was going to leave a blister. So there we go. There's one of the big flowers done without a mold, and it's still pretty awesome. So let's take these gloves off because they aren't easy to work with. A piece of wire here. So let's just oh, come on. I just want one bead. Of course, I pick up the wrong end, and the other end they slide off of. Okay, so I'm just going to put this on here to hold it as kind of a head pin. And I am just making do with what's at hand right now. I'm not really trying to be exact or perfect. And let's take no. I'm just trying to find something that'll look kind of decent in there. Come over to the littler ones. Let's do this little orange. It's kind of brighter than I want. Let's go with this one. That one was drawn in. This is the actual color of the orange. And go in my crooked hole. And I have that twisted so that and you could stick that on a book. You could, I don't know, where all would you like to put it? Yeah, the color still comes out good. There's still some lightness in there, and it looks like it's supposed to be that way. It looks like natural. I mean, to me it does. But you could make jewelry. You could make purse charms. You could make book charms. You could just do a whole bouquet of flowers. I think that would be the most prettiest, but that's just me. Okay, so with the big ones, I had told you I want to make a hat band. Well, there was one flower that I haven't showed you yet because I set it aside because this is the one that I thought maybe together you could see me do one of these. This is the one I think looks like glass. And this one was also messed up in the pulling it out after being die cut. And I just chopped up the edges so it looks like a dogwood to me. But I really like this one. So um, I'm my plan is, and it may be too complicated to do, but I wanted to do some centers, and these are a really good crystal. And I think I'm going to need the super skinny silver ones. Oh, these are what I want. This is too big. It fits, but it feels too big. That could be the bead snob in me. So I'm going to take these. These are tiny, and they have a little silver ball out on the end. So, oh my goodness, old eyes. And I have some green ones here, and they're a little bit different shape. They're not as good a crystal, but they're good. They're just not a good crystal like these are. So I'm going to put them in a little bowl so that they don't roll all over. There's turquoise in there, but they're just going to stay for now. So we're going to put on one of these and one of these, maybe. And I'm going to make about 5 or 6 little dangles. And I'm going for tiny loops. And even though this is little, I'm still going to do um, the wire wrapped in because I prefer it. I want my things to hold up. I want them to hold up well past when you're tired of them, so that whoever they go to after that has a pretty piece too. Although I have to say, my children, when they get jewelry from me, and my sister and my mom was the same, and when they're tired of it, they just give it back to me, and I tear it apart and make something else out of it. So does anybody have any questions about Shrinky? Is there anything that you had in mind that can we do, can we not do? I guess it's always up to experimentation of what you can and can't do, but I'd be glad to answer any questions if anybody has any. Only reason I'm using the green is because this is going to be a center, and I don't know, green kind of just seems like it should be in there somewhere. It's a flower. Now I'm going to take this one. I'm going to put 2 green ones on because we don't want them all the same size. No, not really. If you're using the rough sided Shrinky where it's got some texture, it will work with most things. Um, if you're going to use like uh, regular dye based ink pads, they're going to smear, and they could even maybe wash off as soon as you are done. I mean, I'm not saying they will or won't, but it just depends on their formulation because they aren't a permanent ink. So that would, if you're going to use ink, use permanent. And that's why when you stamp things, you usually stamp them in black and then color them, and you can put most mediums over that. Sometimes Sharpie streaks, and it's not always the best. And I have done doodles on paper with Sharpie and had them on display in a window, and they faded. So, um, I'm not really sure what you're asking. I, um, you've are you saying that you filled it in enough that it's not frosted anymore? The frosted is just a tooth to help it grab onto whatever medium you're putting on it. I mean, there's times I've colored on things and it doesn't look frosted anymore and it still comes out okay. And yeah, acrylic markers is no different than doing painting papers and paint. Um, if I was going to finish anything like, um, put a finish on it, acrylic paint would be the one thing that I would um, put a finish on. And that's just because I can feel the thickness of it when I touch it. I don't know if I could scrape it off. I don't even know where the little booger went now. But like I said, I can feel it by touching it. Oh, here it is. And since we just was a practice, let's see. I can kind of scrape it off. I'm not really scraping it off as I am leaving marks from where, I mean, yeah, it's going to be okay. But I would say that would be my one thing I would want to put a finish on. And this has happened to me, and this is why I'm telling you this. If you are going to put a spray finish on this and you want it glossy, spray it with matte sealer or a matte finish first before you put glossy on it. Now, this happened a long time ago, and Shrink Art's formula could be different, and um, there could be a lot of different things that's changed since then. But I wanted them glossy, and I sprayed them gloss, and they just bubbled up everything. And so since then, I sprayed it matte, and then I sprayed it gloss because the matte's going to seal it. The gloss is going to give you the gloss. Um, E6000 is good. Um, super glue, but it may not last very long. I find super glue gets hard and cracks. There is an excellent glue, but it's not available anymore. I found one package on eBay about a year and a half ago, I think. And it's something I had a little bit of. I don't know if I have it in here or not. Um, it was a heat activated. You put a little strip on it, you heated it, and then you stuck the other item to it, and it worked perfect for Shrinky. And I used it for years, but they don't make it anymore. But I would probably go with E6000 first. And there's a jewelry glue called Hypo Cement. I haven't used that for a while, but it's always held everything I've done. So yeah, alcohol inks you have to be very, very stingy with. You don't need a lot because I don't know, they kind of gum up too sometimes after they're shrunk. Okay, so let's cut some of this off because I think I might want a longer wire. So we're going to see if this is enough. And I'm not going to close this out because if this isn't enough, I don't want to have to think about how I make these. Okay. I'll put this in here. Oh yeah, that's not nearly enough. And I'll make the loop big enough that they will be able to move like that. But yeah, we need more. So let's make a few more and then we'll put it all together. Actually, these little crystals could be Swarovski. I'm not really sure where I got them or how long I've had them. I don't know. I haven't tried glitter. Something else I did try that I haven't shared, and it's not because it's good or bad. It's just I don't have enough information. Um, I don't even know where I put them now. But oh, here they are. I just took little discs just to play with and see the texture and design that's on that. And this one too. This one is really misshapen and it's nasty because that this is a multi-tool. I use it for a lot of things, and that end had paint on it, and I didn't realize it. But I just took them and shrunk them, and like I did with the stamp and pushed into it, I pushed into one of these and got that impression. It's okay. You definitely lose your hole. If you have a hole in it, you lose your hole. I was able to put the hole back in this while it was still soft with a little drill bit because, yeah, everybody has a drill bit sitting right around here, don't they? I mean, I do. I have several size needles and a drill bit on this magnet. And so I was able to get it going with this. And then I just poked it through with a pokey tool. So, yeah, I thought it was kind of cool to do that. That would be something else you could do is after you made something, it, especially if you're just playing around and you got like a circle and you're just going to make a cup thing or something, um, you could try to embed the glitter in it. You know, like lay it down when you're getting ready to push. You know, kind of like I did with the stamp, but you know, you've got your piece there, and then you have some glitter laying down, and then you press it down with something firm and see if it would kind of embed in there. That would be kind of cool. I mean, there's probably a zillion different things you can do. I can only, you know, I only know some of the things, I'm sure. And there is a lot of shrink out or shrink art on the internet, so there's lots to go look at. And you know, there's so many things you can do, I think. And I love that it's versatile and you know, because it's a plastic or acrylic, however you want to call it, it's going to add not a whole lot of weight if you're making a journal charm or a purse charm or earrings or you know whatever. And I have seen, even personally seen, because I went to a bead and button show and took some classes many years ago, but I seen a well-known jewelry artist that had made a lot of things out of shrink plastic, and it can be amazing. And some of the classes that are um, Julie Haymaker offers are pretty amazing. So that makes 7. Let's see if this will be enough. Hi, Teresa. Okay, so I think we're going to call this enough, whether it is or not. And I know that today is technically not the third Tuesday or second Tuesday. Oh God, of course it's not the third Tuesday. It's not the second Saturday of the month. I do have some dental work being done next Friday, and I don't know how I'm going to feel, so I went ahead and opted to do it now. And I'm hoping it's okay because I'm still fighting my sinuses from what I had done 3 weeks ago. So, in fact, probably I'm going to have to make a trip to the doctor because the ears aren't getting any better. Couldn't sleep last night because I couldn't hear the fan. Is that crazy? So I'm just putting all of these dangles on here. And some have 3 beads on and some have 2, so they're different lengths, which hopefully shows up that I thought about that. Well, I'll tell you what, I've decided I probably need to really concentrate on jewelry and use up my beads because the eyes ain't getting any better. I could do the paper crafts when I can't see as well, but not with the little bitty beads. Okay, so I want that a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to make my wrapped end. And we're going to stick it in our flower. So there's our flower with its center. And it really could still hold more. And maybe it should just be real clustered up there too. I think that would be the coolest look. And then I can go through shrinky pieces that I've already got done and see if there's um, this may be too small. Yeah. And I may have to make something specifically for that looks like, the bottom end of a flower. If this was bigger, this would be perfect. And maybe I'll just take something like that and make it bigger. I don't know. So you don't really see that, but you can see that something bigger would, I mean, you would see it if you make it to where, kind of sets to the side, But if I took something like that I don't know, I think it needs to be green. And green is not a color I use, hardly ever. In fact, I was making some yarn. I've been doing some yarn where I sew a bunch of yarns together to make a new yarn. And that's when I realized I really don't have any green. I have very little green yarn. So, I mean, you kind of get what I'm trying to do here. Maybe, I mean, from the side view, that looks like a flower, it's got the little part down there. So, yeah, I'm going to make more of those for that because I think I want it full, which means I'll probably have to make a bigger circle. But I think I like that. I think I'm actually going to put some pink in there too. So, anyway, any questions? I hope I covered everything you can do with Shrinky. I mean, I'm sure I didn't, but I hope I covered everything I can do with Shrinky or any questions you may have had. I I did show you those little rings that I said was part of a kid's craft kit, and this was also in there, and I saved them. I didn't like how the mold worked for it, but these are bracelets, and you shrink them up. You could put it in the mold. It goes kind of wraps around in a spiral like that, and then you shrink them in the mold, and it worked down, and it made a bracelet cuff. But I saved them because I thought, I can make a dangly thing out of them. So, what? Thanks, Darla. What if you were going to make them? What technique would be what you would be most interested in? Um, ink pads. Most of us have some. Colored pencils. Most of us have some. The pastels is great, and like I said, I think this is probably the best money I've bought. When I used them today was the first time I've used them, and well, of course, you see me try to open it, but yeah, I really this this was like, aha! I heard bells and whistles when I found this in the store. I think I was in there for distilled water, so yeah, the gel plate is pretty fun. It just lets you make, you know, painty papers a different way, I guess. And then you got, it's really pretty. It makes a really pretty item. Just remember, you don't have to be as intense as you would if you were doing it on paper. And of course, the big ones are fun. And I just like doing all of it. I like taking the time to color. This one I just think I colored it with an ink pad and then did the edges and then stamped on it with a white ink pad in an overall pattern. And it's, I really like that one. This one was this was probably ink. When I get big ones, I tend to do more ink because it's faster. And then on some of the smaller ones, this is ink also. This one I just did solid, and I like it because sometimes you just need that. But on the stamped images, I usually color them in, and that's usually colored pencils. If it's going to have a lot of detail, it's usually colored pencils. But ink is so fast, and then you can just put some details like this is ink, and then I come in and put a few details. So, and you can just do it all one color and then just draw on. These are kind of little feathers with the little green and then a turquoise dot inside. So there's just a ton of ways, and some of them I don't even know what I did on that one. It's probably a stamp. So you're welcome, Jean. Jean. You're welcome, Ann. Thank you for coming. So if anybody's got any questions, feel free to ask and enjoy and make something fun. And I don't know, don't be afraid to experiment. I think sometimes that causes a lot of uh, stress because you think it's got to work out perfect first time, and it really doesn't. That's kind of why I like doing these because like I told you, this one it didn't come out right at the die. You can kind of see that right there. So I just kind of put little divots in all of them, and I don't know, it works fine. So just because it's got an ouchie doesn't mean we can't still use it. So if there's no more questions, I will see you in March. I think I have that completely set up for the second Saturday of March. And we're going to do that cute little box wherever it is amongst this stuff. Oh, here it is. We're going to do the little cigar book matchbox book that has the little drawers that you're going to have the stuff to make books to go inside of each one of them. The kit contains the matchbooks, plenty of beads. I used sequins behind mine to make sure they stayed, but I got little flat, colorful beads. And I got head pins and I got brads if you don't want to do the beads and the head pins. I've got papers. I've got the cover, everything you pretty much need. I've even got some words, and I got the material for the book covers and the book pages on the inside. And we'll go through this as we make it. It's going to be pretty simple and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, that being said, I think I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to see you all next time. Some of you I'll see Tuesday, some of you will see you next month. And enjoy. And thank you for coming. It was great to have you here. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye bye.